Hey guys, finally making a video here. Today I'm going to show you how to clean up plexiglass. Today I'm doing it on an excavator, but this should work on any kind of plexiglass that's, as you can see, yellowed or cloudy and you can't quite see through it. It can be dangerous, especially on excavators if you can't see everything. So I'm just going to show you how to clean it up, and it'll improve your visibility and looks. So what I like to do with my method is I wet sand the window and then I buff it with a plastic compound. So I'm going to take you through the steps and we'll get this window sanded. So to wet sand a window, you can do it by hand, but that might take a while. So what I like to do is I use a orbital sander. You can use a corded one, cordless one. Just be careful about getting it wet. So what I like to do is, depending on how bad the window is, you can change the grit. What I usually use is 400 to start, but this window is a little rough. So I'm going to start with 220, do 400, 600, 800, and then 2000 grit. And then once I'm done with 2000, we move on to the buffing compound, and that should clear the window up enough to see through it. This probably won't make it look perfect if you're expecting perfection, but you can definitely see through it. And if you spend a lot of time on it, you can get it to look perfect. But we'll just move on to the wet sanding. Okay, to start the wet sanding, I'll just get a hose, wet the sander or sandpaper, whatever you're using. Then wet the window, starting with 220 grit, and I'm just gonna start sanding. Now you should feel the window getting smoother as you do it. Obviously if you're sanding it, it's gonna get better. I would probably never start with compound first unless it's just slightly cloudy, because the compound isn't able to cut through the rough buildup from the sun that it creates on plexiglass. So now we're going to move to the 400 grit. What I like to do is don't line the holes up so the thing sucks the water up into the thing. Just like kind of misalign them so it blocks the water as much as possible. Okay, moving on to 400 grit. Wet the sand, wet the window, and cut the sand. Okay, rinse it off. Now we move on to 600. And as you work your way up on the sandpaper, you should be able to start seeing through the window a little bit more. Usually it's when about 800 grit you'll start being able to see a little bit through it, and then 2000 is when it really clears up. So we'll move on to 800. Starting to be able to see through it a little bit. Yeah, definitely starting to see through it a little. I can see the lever and the floor in there. Before I couldn't. So we're moving on to the 2000. Now this is when it should really clear up. If it doesn't, sometimes the buffing will take it out, and if not, maybe just keep sanding it with a little bit rougher grit. Especially if the window's really cloudy or rough, because it can take some extra tries. As you can see, I can actually see through the window now. Maybe it'd be a little harder to see on camera, but now I'm just gonna let it dry, wipe it down with water, And then I'm going to move on to the buffing with my buffing wheel. Okay, now that I dried everything off, you'll see it dried to a cloudy-like finish. And this is normal. It's just the scratches we created with the sandpaper. And that's what the buffer is going to take out. So what I like to use on these plastic plexiglass windows is Plasti-X. I'll leave a link in the description, as well as a link to all the sandpaper and pads I use. You could do all this work by hand with like sandpaper and by hand buffing with a towel, but your wrist would thank you if you use, you know, orbital sander in this. It just saves so much time, and your hand and wrist. So what I'll do is apply some Plasti-X to the middle of the buffer wheel here. Don't put too much so you don't fling it everywhere. And then you just start with a low speed and work your way up as it gets clear. Spread it out a bit. Keep applying product. And as you can see, we can actually see through the window. You can see I missed the edge here with the sander. It's kind of curved here, so I'll have to come back and do that. But you can actually see through the plexiglass now, which is way better than it was before. So I hope you guys find this helpful on clearing up your windows. The only thing is, once you do this, you're gonna have to protect them with a wax or a ceramic coating or some other kind of UV product, because the sun will destroy it again. So, you know, keep it waxed and it should last for quite a while. And if it does this again, just repeat the process, wax it, and you should get a couple of years out of it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll leave a link in the description to all the products I use. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.